And joining me now is Dr. Chris Nowinski. He is a former pro wrestler and college football player. He is now a neuroscientist and the CEO of the Concussion Legacy Foundation. Chris, welcome to the show. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances, but we're hoping you can provide some insight on what potentially the motive could have been. So we're following unconfirmed reports that the suspect had a 3-page letter, which I just confirmed with the deputy mayor, where he thanked a few doctors, a few professionals, including you, who were part of a PBS documentary about CTE. When you found that out in the last few hours, what was your reaction?
Well, I'm just heartbroken for all the victims of this and their families. I mean, this was just tough to watch the beginning of the show. It's hard to know what to make of it. With somebody who's willing to perform an act like this, I mean, they're clearly not in their right mind. So it's also unfortunate to consider that this sort of thing has happened before. So when I began this work 20 years ago, it was my colleague, Chris Benoit at the WWE, who confided in me his concussion concerns. We didn't get help and then killed his wife and son and himself. And so I've always known this is a life and death issue. We don't know if this individual has CTE, but big picture, this is CTE and traumatic brain injury are very complicated and devastating issues.
And I know it is complicated. Can you try to explain to me briefly as you can, what is CTE for our viewers that may not be as familiar?
Sure. CTE is a degenerative brain disease that's caused by repeated traumatic brain injuries. It starts as small lesions in the frontal lobe and spreads throughout the brain over time, even after you stop getting hit in the head. In the end stages, it causes dementia. In younger people who have been diagnosed with CTE, many have had mental health problems.
During the press conference yesterday, police said the suspect shot himself in the chest, which is of note since he might have been trying to preserve his brain so scientists, doctors can look at it. CTE can only be diagnosed after death with an autopsy. But I was reading your notes, and you mentioned even after the autopsy, we won't know if CTE was the exact cause. Can you elaborate that?
Yeah, you can't tie any brain injury or brain disease or medical condition to a single act, a single behavior. So whatever the medical examiner discovers, it's not going to answer all the questions. It might give us a window into how impaired his brain was. So for example, when I think of Aaron Hernandez, who murdered 2 people and had stage 3 CT at the age of 27, when we first got the brain, I thought it would be small lesions and it wouldn't answer anything. But having stage 3 that advanced at that age, that would absolutely change anybody's personality, their judgment, their behavior. So it'll be, I will wait to see what the findings are and continue to try to educate people that the fact is this fall, almost 2 million young people will be playing football and take 1 billion combined head impacts. And we should not be surprised that some will go on to develop behaviors associated with damage to their frontal lobe and other parts of their brain.
I think it's important you mention that because it's not just professional players that can suffer from CTE. Would that be correct?
Yes, and we published a study a couple of years ago looking at 45 former high school players who all died in their teens or 20s, and 31% had the disease. So it is entirely possible that he had the disease, and then predicting that has a lot to do with when he started playing, because your odds of developing CT go up about 15 to 30% per year you play.
So even if the suspect didn't specifically have CTE, he could still have had some kind of brain damage, correct? Not all traumatic brain injuries from playing football are considered CTE.
Correct. There's 15 other types of pathologies associated with traumatic brain injuries and repetitive traumatic brain injuries. An example is Robert Card, who killed 17 in Maine, the veteran who was a grenade instructor. He didn't have CT, but he did have widespread white matter changes to his frontal lobe that we suspect would lead to behavioral changes and impulsive decision and irrational thoughts.
You mentioned Aaron Hernandez, Andre Waters, another football player. They turned to violence, ultimately suicide. Is this an unfortunate common trait in people with CTE?
Luckily, it's not common. So this is a very rare outcome, but it is an outcome we've seen before. Another example would be Philip Adams, age 32, killed 6 strangers in 2021 in South Carolina. He already had stage 2 CT with frontal lobe atrophy. So again, it's something that we've been seeing. We do need to get these people help. I was just contacted by recently retired NFL player worried about a teammate who was showing these signs and recently got a gun. Like, this is a daily battle to protect these people from themselves and then protect others.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.